Hello everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of converting 5th edition to Tales of the Valiant. Due to the utter surprise by being featured in Kobold Press's newsletter for Tales of the Valiant, I decided to jump on today, since I have the time to anyways, and convert another monster from 5th edition to Tales of the Valiant for everyone to use. And because it's Kobold Press, why not convert another kobold? We've already looked at a few monsters, added a couple here and there. I've got some custom ones that are going to be coming up soon that I haven't showed, but hint, hint, if you're watching my actual plays for the Tales of the Valiant and the Valiant tribe, then you'll know what may be coming up next. Who knows? In any event, let's go ahead and convert the Kobold Dragonshield from 5th edition, which is in the Monsters of the Multiverse book, to Tales of the Valiant. And with that, let's go ahead and jump into this. With our Kobold Dragonshield here being a Challenge 1 monster, we're going to go ahead and throw that in, and we're going to expect the following of a 2 proficiency bonus, 13 to 15 AC, 40 hit points, 4 to 5 attack bonus, 11 to 18 DPR, damage per round, and a save DC of 13 to 15. Now, from there, now that we have our CR1 in place, we're going to go ahead and throw in the modifiers of a 1, a 2, a 2, a -1, and a 0 for the following stats. Since we don't have any skill saves here, we don't have to worry about the proficiencies, and because we're converting, well, actually we will need it because I'm going to print this out and you'll get the PDF as well for use in your Tales of the Valiant games. We don't have anything to worry about here, so we won't go ahead and add those in. Now we do have an AC of 15 with a leather armor and a shield, so we're going to need to bump that up to with +3 to give us the 15, which is on the high end for our expected range, which is perfectly fine. And then from there, we do have some stuff that we need to add in here from our senses, so to say. And we'll come down to the bottom here. We're going to have a proficiency perception of 11. Our stealth is going to stay at a 12 since we're not proficient in that. And then we do have 1 immunity. So it depends on what kind of immunity we're dealing with here, but for the sake of converting this kobold over, we're going to need to pick one. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the average, which should be 5 to 6 with a, what is that, a D10? Yes. 5 to 6 is our average for brass, gold, or red. So I'm going to go ahead and throw in fire resistance for our little plucky kobold here. So our kobold's getting fire resistance, and because of that, the tool is automatically picking up on that and giving a -5 hit point adjustment so far. Then we move on to our senses. Our kobold here is going to have 60 feet of dark vision, and we also have normal vision, as usual. We have languages of Common and Draconic. And then we also have, that's about it. We don't have to worry about anything here. We do have Small and technically Dragon, so I guess we're considering them dragons, although in certain aspects I think they're now considered humanoids. It doesn't really make all that much difference. I'm going to put them back to humanoid because I think that's where they are. I'll make adjustments to the PDF after the fact once I've looked over Kobold Press's Tales of the Valiant Monster Vault book to see what they have them as in there. Okay, up next we have, what do we have next? I guess we're all done here, so we're going to move down into the traits for our monster. Now, we've already covered the dragon's resistance, so we don't have to worry about that. That's covered, and basically this covers it for everything here. It will just have something for down below that we'll fill in later on. After that, we do have the Heart of the Dragon, so if the kobold is frightened or paralyzed by an effect for a saving throw, it can repeat the save at the start of the turn rather than at the end, provided it's within 30 feet of another kobold or something to that effect here. But anyways, it gives it advantage and stops any fear effects. So we get that bonus at the beginning of the turn, and this is just a flavorful effect and doesn't really impact our monster's overall CR rating. So we can skip that. We do have Pack Tactics here, so we're going to click this, and it's going to add in, I think, 3 or 5% increase to the DPR. And then we also have Sunlight Sensitivity. In theory, our kobolds are not going to be fighting in direct sunlight, so we don't have to worry about this feature, and we can move on to its multi-attack. Alright, so for the multi-attack, we are using strength here. As we can see, our +3 to hit is reflected in this attack bonus modifier here. And then we'll go ahead and throw in the damage for the spear that it's using. So we have a 1d6 plus its strength bonus here, which is going to be just simply a 4, which we have here as well, 4.5. And then we also get 5 for using the spear two-handed. Now, the thing is, we are using a shield. So, in effect, we can't use the two-handed one, but if for some reason we do lose our shield, we can then go two-handed and add that in as well. And we'll have the 5.5. But for the sake of argument here, and because our AC is based on the shield, I'm just going to be using the one-handed spear conditions. And we'll have the 4.5 there. We'll get rid of that. And we don't have any conditions or riders for the attack. It's just a simple straight-handed spear that we're using. And we will go ahead and throw that into the multi-attack here. So our multi-attack is going to be 4.5, and we're going to be making 2 of those. And we end up with 9. So what we're doing here is we're going to go ahead and take this 9 and throw it into the concentration section. We could simply throw this into rounds 1, 2, and 3, but we're just repeating ourselves, and to save a little bit of time, even though I've spent too much time explaining this, we end up with an overall damage of 9, which is below the low end. Now, we could leave that as is, which means if we leave it like this, we are 2 points under the lowest expected damage range for our monster, which means it's going to get a hit point bonus of 5% here, which will bring it up by 5, but because we also have 1 immunity or resistance, we are losing that 5%, and we come with a flat 0. So if we leave this as is, which I'm not going to do, but just to show you, if we leave this as is, then our kobold only has 40 hit points, which ironically is on the low end for our 5e cousin here, which is really funny. This is usually not what I end up seeing. I usually end up seeing monsters with a little bit higher hit points. So this kobold here is definitely a tank. With all the AC and the hit points, the Kobold Dragonshield from 5e has more damage, but has a much lower end for DPR. So what I want to end up doing is I'm going to increase the damage of our Kobold Dragon here. So because because our Kobold is getting some kind of blessing from a dragon in this form of dragon resistance, why not add in damage of that same type as well? So let's go ahead and throw in, we'll just do 1d4 of some kind of damage type for now. And that's going to add in 2.5. So we're going to also add this in here. We're going to say plus the 4.5 to the 2.5, giving us 7, which bumps everything up to a 14. And now we have 14 to 11, which brings us well within the range of the expected DPR of 11 to 18. Now, how this modifies the Kobold Dragonshield for Tales of the Valiant is that it loses the hit point bonus and reduces the hit points by -5%. So now we go from having only 40 hit points to 38. That's only a difference of 2 hit points, but because our Kobold has so few hit points anyways, 10% of 40 is 4, and we divide that in half, and we end up with only 2 hit point adjustment, which is really funny. We could even increase this a little more. We could say 1d6 instead of 1d4 for the damage, which is pretty average. 1d6 is normal for extra rider damage, and that brings us to a 16, which, for Tales of the Valiant and this damage range, I would say this is perfectly good. We could go even higher, and we could say a d8 of fire damage, and that would put us just above the maximum range, which wouldn't make any other adjustments, but may be too dangerous for a CR1 monster here. So I would suggest either a d4 or a d6 for sure, which brings us well within the average range of the 11 to 18 expected DPR. Now, with everything done and out of the way, and our movement speed is... Oh, actually, I forgot one thing. Our movement speed for this Kobold, for some reason, is a 20. So let's see what happens with a 20 here. If we change our movement speed to 20, this means that our Kobold is getting a bonus of 5% hit points because of how slow it moves. Now, I wouldn't recommend this, and actually I would remove the restrictions. This is probably due to the low strength and it wearing armor. But then again, it's only leather, and it's not like it's wearing full plate mail or something. We do get a bonus for being so slow. So this is one of the things I'm going to change for the Kobold Dragonshield, bringing it to Tales of the Valiant. I'm going to remove the 20-foot speed. I don't know why they did that in the first place. I haven't played any games where the Kobold Dragonshield was used in a campaign based off of D&D 5th edition. And I'm just going to bring that back. So what we're going to do is we're going to modify this Kobold for Tales of the Valiant with a 30-foot walking speed, which is normal. And we're going to lose that little bit, those 2 hit points here. So this Kobold, while being a little bit more deadly and dealing more damage due to the Dragon's Blessings, and I'm going to call this the Dragon's Blessings rather than Resistance. We're going to see that our Tales of the Valiant cousin here is going to be doing more damage and has only 6 less hit points than its 5th edition cousin, which is really funny. So with everything here all said and done, I'm going to go ahead and click on the little print button. We're going to go ahead and get this nice little printout, and we're going to bring it over to the home brewery where you will find the PDF at a later date. So this will be the, let's get rid of that notice. This will be the Kobold Dragonshield 5e to ToV conversion. And we'll go ahead and drop that in. And as you see, we now have ourselves a really well put together stat block for our Kobold Dragonshield. Now, this is just the basics. To keep it simple and not have too many crazy options, we just have to fill out the rest. It's not that hard. There's plenty of examples here of how to do that with home brewery. Home brewery is a great system here, and if you're not using it for your custom monsters, I totally recommend it. But in any event, there we have it. This is the Kobold Dragonshield converted from 5th edition to Tales of the Valiant. I will leave some information on what was changed and what wasn't. And this is totally free for you guys to use if you feel so inclined to for your games of Tales of the Valiant. And again, as always, as a little bit of as a little bit of work here at the end, getting the shop out, talking shop out of the way. If you like what I've done here for this video and you want to get your hands on this tool as well, you can go to my Ko-fi link in the description below, where you can get this totally for free or donate if you feel so inclined to. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.